Welcome to the Common Man Sports Show. I am your host, Nick Antonianis, along with Brandon Kramer, Brandon Murdoch, and Mikey Malajchek. And guess what? We got some NFL playoffs. It is the best time of the year. Not Christmas, it is playoffs for the NFL. So the NFL season has officially ended this past Sunday. We already have the selection of teams, but we're going to be discussing mainly about the firings of specific teams of their head coaches. So obviously we can talk about the other ones like the offensive coordinators and whatever, but mainly we're going to talk about the head coaches. So we have about like 6 teams that we want to talk about. We want to talk about the Patriots, the Bears, the Jets, the Jaguars, the Saints, and finally the Raiders. All these teams are looking for a head coach, especially the Raiders. They just recently today fired their first year head coach in Antonio Pierce.
Giant legend.
What'd you say?
Giant legend. Just he helped beat the Patriots when they were undefeated. I just wanted to say that because of a certain someone on this call.
So
you're gonna have 2. We'll take 6.
So, Jesus. So I'm gonna start opening up
4, but go on.
I'm gonna open up the room now. What was the most surprising firing out of? I mean, obviously the Bears and the Jets. They were mid-season, but we're gonna talk about recently that happened during what was it called? Black Monday. It's called
Black Monday.
Yeah. So what happened this past Monday of the firings? Which one was the most surprising one? I'm gonna open up the room. So anyone who wants to say, what was the most surprising one?
I'm honestly gonna say Antonio Pierce because they didn't play well, but it's not like he was gifted much in the first place. An awful defensive team. Besides Max Crosby, Jack Jones is more focused on trying to kill Patrick Mahomes. I believe he had like 3 or 4 personal fouls on him this year. It's not really his fault that he was, given Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell as his quarterbacks. They played hard for him. I'm going to say that was a little bit surprising because he won the locker room over. So now they're changing again.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought they were going to give him a little bit more leniency. I guess maybe the fact that he pushed them to win those games and blew the chance to get Sanders.
Right.
But I was a little bit surprised. I saw it coming, but still, Mark Davis spoke highly about him last year, and he's gone.
The one thing that was pretty interesting about the Antonio Pierce hiring last offseason was that Max Crosby specifically said that if Pierce wasn't the head coach, he was going to be leaving the team. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what's the future going for Max Crosby since that a coach that he wanted this past season is now going to be fired. What's the future going to look like for Crosby?
He'll be a giant when Antonio Pierce becomes the Giants' defensive.
Wherever Pierce goes, Crosby is following suit. So,
Mikey, probably go to Buffalo.
Mikey, what was a head coach that you were surprised that got fired?
Look, I mean, I wasn't keeping up with the Patriots at all this year, but so I mean, maybe this was coming and I just didn't know. I'm shocked that Mayo got fired because the Patriots just had a failed rebuild after Brady left with Mac Jones and Belichick was still there. They got to have a rookie quarterback. No one was expecting anything from them this year. So I'm a little bit like, just what? Like you just fired. Well, yeah, they fired the greatest coach of all time. Like you had to think you weren't going to get right back in playoff contention after that. Right. I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't keeping up and maybe there were calls for him to get fired all year, which Murdoch.
No, can I say one thing, Brandon, before you go, because you're the Patriots fan?
Yeah.
I was shocked too because it's not like he was, again, that was a lose-lose situation. That roster is completely flawed. They have a gambler as their wide receiver 1. And not only just remember, he didn't even try to hide it. His name on FanDuel DraftKings was Kayshon Boot 7. So, I mean, I don't even think the players wanted him hired in the first place, but I think Kraft is obsessed with keeping everything the Patriot way, which is why they're going to hire Vrabel. But anyway, take it away, Patriots fan.
So
go ahead.
So as someone who unfortunately had to watch 17 games of this season, Gerard Mayo, performance-wise, was not it. He was very much outcoached probably 17 times this season. He made excuses. I think the culture was obviously not as well as it should be of the Patriot way. I'm more shocked at it because I didn't think Robert Kraft would have the balls to own up to his own mistake and realize after just 1 year that this is a complete mess up and I got to get somebody else in here. So that's the only reason why I'm a bit shocked because over the last like 20 years, there's not much accountability from Robert Kraft, especially when he messes up. So that's the reason why I'm surprised. From a performance wise, he should have been out the door probably midseason.
Oh, I love that.
I
dig.
think
That was
I
put-
just think that they didn't want to do it mid-season because they didn't want to pull the Jets way, where it's like it's difficult to play games when your head coach gets fired mid-season. It's like, what are you going to do about that? You know, I was a little bit surprised about the firing, mainly because obviously he was a Patriot. Well, what was his position before
Linebacker.
Linebacker,
yeah, so like
he lost the
has
Super Bowl to the Giants.
yeah, so like he has the experience of being a part of the Patriots, and also like he's a young head coach, so he's trying to get like the experience a little bit. So I thought they were going to give him at least like one more season, and also the fact that they had to have a team with a young quarterback, and then you have Polk as your wide receiver, then you have Steverson, who was pretty solid this season, Hunter Henry, who saved my fantasy football season by getting that random touchdown against Buffalo, but I do think that there was going to be a lot of holes to fill for the Patriots, especially from the front office, organization, etc. But we'll see when that time comes. Are any of you guys surprised about Doug Peterson getting fired by the Jaguars?
No.
No,
Yeah.
I'm more shocked that Shad Khan said on a Zoom press conference that if a new head coach wants the GM fired, he will fire the GM when the GM was right next to him. I
That's
was more
brutal.
shocked about that. If we're being honest, Trevor Lawrence hasn't been the person everyone expected him to be. That's why I've gone on rants before about the word generational.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say now he hasn't been given, receiving grade. Brian Thomas Jr. Yes, he was hurt this year, but he's not really taking that next step, and he's getting paid $50 million. No, I was just more shocked that Shad Khan said, "Yeah, no, if a new coach wants the GM fired, we could fire him." He didn't say it like that, but he.
But
pretty
no,
much
I
did.
know what you mean. It's just like
If anything, I'm more shocked that a franchise like Jacksonville that has really never tasted success. I'm more shocked that like they had the guts to actually do it, fire a Super Bowl winning head coach. As far as like, am I shocked from a performance? No, not at all. Like since they were 8-3 and in contention for the 1 seed last year, they were 5-18. Like
Yeah.
you can't come back from that. Like
It's
you gotta-
frustrating because with the team that they have as well. I mean, the wide receiving core, like you mentioned, Brian Thomas Jr., who was very good this season. Travis Etienne, is that how you say his name?
ETN. Just think of like
ETN.
letter E, letter T, then the letter N.
Okay. Well, he kind of had like a little bit of a down year, but still, the talent is still there. And then they had a really good tight end in Evan Ingram. And I know he was hurt for most of the season, but still, like, you had a good offensive team and you still didn't produce. It kind of shows that Trevor Lawrence is obviously not worth the $50 million. He still has a lot of improvement. I know he got hurt pretty badly to end his season, but the organization for Jacksonville, they don't know what to do. They once hired Urban Meyer for 1 season, didn't work out at all. They got absolutely demolished because of that. They get Doug Pearson thinking that, you have a experienced experienced head coach who's won a Super Bowl, maybe have the experience there. No. So there's a lot of problems for Jacksonville, unfortunately, which is sad to say. But
go to the UFL.
No,
pretty
but
much, yeah.
Brian Thomas is fun to watch. I like him.
He's a
Yeah,
stud.
he's
I
a-
also will
he's
say
phenomenal.
the number 1 pick, Trayvon Walker, he's had
Oh, yeah,
back-to-back
him.
seasons with double-digit sacks. Completely flew under the radar, but back-to-back seasons. Also, I'm not going to curse, but I hate Evan Ingram. Now he goes to Jacksonville and then remembers how to catch a football. Just going to say that.
And you have Daniel Jones throwing a bad ball. What do you expect him?
No, some of them were good. He still dropped them.
Danny Dimes.
He's on Minnesota now. He's the backup.
So now I want to go over to specific discussions since we're talking about I guess we can just talk about the 6 specific teams that need a head coach. Going back with the Patriots, Bears, Jets, Jags, and Raiders and Saints. I guess we can just go over specific teams of who is a right fit for this specific team going forward for next season. So for the Patriots, we already mentioned about Mike Vrabel. Brandon, you're the Patriots guy. Why is Vrabel the guy?
I mean, you see Dan Campbell's success with the Lions. It's all about that. You hear the term "leader of men." Like that's what owners want, GMs want. It's what players kind of want too. It's what the fans expect. So I think Mike Vrabel, after a year of really a lack of accountability, a lack of culture, I think he'd bring that back to the Patriots. Somebody who's been a Patriot, somebody who succeeded with Belichick at the highest level with Brady. Those teams, like the 03, 04 teams, this guy is a Patriot like blood in him. Like I think he's the perfect fit for the team. I think he's gonna keep guys accountable and help the team grow and to help the younger guys grow.
I like that. Personally, for me, like I like the addition of Vrabel going to the Patriots, especially with, I don't know if you guys remember, but in the 2019-2020 season, he was the main reason why that Tom Brady left the Patriots, because he was a freaking mastermind when it comes to draining the clock just so they won't have enough time
He
to
learned from
get back
Bill.
the ball.
He learned from Bill, who
Brilliant.
did against Adam Gase.
Yep, exactly. Any other are we all agreement that Mike Vrabel is the guy for
Yeah.
New England?
It's going to be no one else.
They're doing all
Okay,
these like, pity interviews, but it's gonna be Vrabel.
Well, they have to follow the
Yeah.
Rooney Rule. They have to
Yeah.
follow the Rooney Rule.
They have to. I guess we could talk about the most people were saying is the most important job, and that is the Bears head coach, because this could make it or break it for, I guess you could say, make it break it for Caleb's career going forward of getting the right head coach for the job. So, who do you guys have as the right guy for the Bears?
Well, the right guy would be Ben Johnson, but they're not getting him because it's been reported that Ben Johnson would, if he went to the Bears, would want the GM Poles out, and Poles is not leaving. They've already said he's not leaving, so it's obviously not going to be Ben Johnson because he'll want to have that better GM, but it should be Ben Johnson. I mean, that's a match made in heaven. You have 3 good wide receivers, a mid running back, but still, and a quarterback with all the talent in the world. They need a offensive-minded head coach,
right?
Someone that knows how to develop a quarterback, because the film on Caleb's first year was pretty brutal. Holding on to the ball too long, staring down his receivers, blatantly missing his first read, and most importantly, trying to play college ball in the NFL. They're going to need someone to really slow it down. So, as I said, it should be Ben Johnson, but it's not going to be.
Mikey?
I think Pete Carroll's going to get the job.
I was going to say that as well.
I mean,
I was looking to it.
The Bears defense was not terrible. He was a defensive coach, right? Legion of Boom. So I don't know. I could see them going that way, saying, let's make the defense as amazing as it can be and take a little pressure off Caleb to develop a bit better. I mean, I agree that it should be Ben Johnson, but I feel like it's more likely to be Pete Carroll. I don't know.
Check. I don't want to have the mistake for a clip, because remember when I accidentally said Harbaugh was a defensive coach and completely forgetting he's a quarterback.
But I like the pick of Pete Carroll because he's a veteran head coach. He has the experience, and he did develop Russell Wilson. I know that Russell Wilson. I know he's okay now, obviously, but when his time in Seattle was pretty special. He won a Super Bowl. He made it to the Super Bowl until he forgot to give it to Marshawn Lynch, who was the best running back in the NFL at that moment. But Pete Carroll, I believe, is the guy. Veteran guy, can definitely control Caleb. I saw someone say on Twitter that Caleb literally stayed at the same exact game, basically from college to now. He never improved or anything. So people are like, this is the biggest position for Caleb Williams' career, because they need to get that over the hump. Because
it was bad. It was really bad.
It was unfortunate to see, because a lot of people had extreme high expectations.
Not you. You've been so animate.
I have been. No, I knew that Caleb was going to be a bust in the beginning.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you your props. You said in the beginning he was going to be a bust. I mean, as you said, it's bad. He has not improved. I mean, the fact that I think it was Thanksgiving, he tried to play hero ball again.
Yeah.
It's this is the NFL. This is not college.
So let's go back to that TikTok clip that I made. My hot take for today is that I think that Caleb Williams is going to be an absolute bust. Okay, now we're back. But yeah, I said that. I said that Caleb was going to be a bust. And what did I say?
We do have to give Jackson props, because he did say Bo Nix was going to be good.
Yeah.
Now, it's also a lot of Sean Payton. I'm just going to be honest.
Well,
it's a
and
lot of Sean
also
Payton.
Denver did beat a lot of teams way below 500.
Mhm.
So
They're gonna get absolutely.
they're
they
gonna
were
get
chanting,
demolished.
We want
They're
Buffalo, and
they're
it
gonna-
reminds me of when Yankee fans, not including I was the one who did it, chanted, "We want Boston" to proceed to get our ass kicked. Patriots
Feels like-
Patriots didn't have an
Every
undefeated
time
season,
since
though.
03. Every
Yeah.
time since 03.
You had an undefeated season against the Giants and you lost it. Sorry, I have to have something. I
Okay.
have to have something.
So now we're gonna go into the next position and talk about the New York Jets, which has been hands down the most disastrous team this whole season. They fired their head coach not even midway through the season. I think it was only like 4 or 5 games into the season.
He didn't last
They
long.
bring in Jeff Ulbrich, who they're thinking he was the answer. He wasn't. He was absolutely terrible. They try to get Devontae Adams, did this whole special thing in the Pat McAfee show. And what did they do? They only have 2 wins together. Then they tried to fire Joe Douglas to try to find the answers. They couldn't find anything. Now they have to go back to square one.
Wait,
And
don't
they have
don't forget Woody Johnson. You cannot forget the Woody Johnson story.
Obviously, yeah, of course. He was planning on getting Jerry Duty. And of course, his son was like, he doesn't have a good Madden rating. And he was like, okay, don't want him. But of course, he still has someone like an Alan Lazar in the team. But he actually played good because Aaron Rodgers was on the team. Anyway, go off topic. The head coach for this one has to be Rex Ryan. 100%. The last guy who
Like that.
got the Jets into the playoffs and made it to the AFC Championship against the Colts, Rex Ryan. And he said he was 100% prepared to come back as a Jets head coach to finish business. This is the guy that the Jets need to kick most of the players' asses and just get them over the hump. Forget about Aaron Rodgers. His time is over. If they want to have Breece Hall, Wilson, I don't know about Adams. I don't know his future or anything. If they want to have those 2 players have their chances of staying as a Jet for life, Rex Ryan is the guy. No exceptions. I know they were talking about Ron Rivera. I know they were planning on bringing back Jeff Ulbrich. No. Ryan is the guy. Point blank. I don't know if anyone has other opinions.
No, I 100% agree.
Sure.
It'll help that defense finally. I mean, the defense with Saleh was good, but
Mhm.
Rex Ryan always usually had a very, very good defense.
Darrell
Yeah,
Revis.
definitely.
He had
He's just
Darrell.
always coached great defenses, and the Jets are made from their defense.
It-
So
It is arguably probably the best defense he'd ever have with the Jets organization, if
yeah,
talent was.
I mean, he just has to teach Sauce Gardner to stop holding.
Well, what I like about what Sauce is saying is that he wants to stay with the franchise and build from the ground up. And he said that I can be that guy that people can blame. I can be the guy that everyone's like, you're the reason that, you're not winning the championship. And
Oh, okay.
Talking
Okay.
about the Jets.
okay, so basically Sauce says he wants to
Oh,
build
yeah.
this team from the ground up and he doesn't care what kind of criticism he takes, which I like about that. So that's a pretty cool to have. But Rex Ryan's the guy. Next topic. What about Jacksonville?
Anyone
Just
that
anyone.
can coach a
Anyone who's
quarterback.
available.
On it, they should have got Doug Peterson's still the guy.
Get
but
Joe
they got rid
Brady.
of him. Yeah, honestly, I think it'll probably be Joe Brady. Someone,
Sorry, Mikey.
You
Mikey,
think
you're literally gonna get Ben Johnson in your dreams. What happened to Belichick though? Is he gonna just leave UNC?
Yeah, but what
Mid-season.
has Joe Brady been a full-time coordinator long enough to get a head coaching job now? I mean,
I mean, look what he
Joe
did
Judge got a head coaching job.
all right, Joe Brady it is.
with-
Fine. It's gonna be
I mean,
Joe Brady.
Look what he's done with the obviously Josh Allen's Josh Allen. He's gonna probably win MVP, but look what he's done with that offense.
Yeah, and you
He's-
were
he's
right.
made
You
him
picked-
efficient.
You picked Josh Allen to win this, to win MVP. Murdoch.
All I gotta say
Can't wait
is
for that clip to come back.
Baltimore has 9 Pro Bowlers. Bills only have 2.
The Jets have 0. Giants have 1.
Hey, Pats have one.
Who is it? Christian Gonzalez?
Crazily, no. Brandon Schooler, special
Okay.
teams.
Was it
Yay.
Burns for the Giants?
No, it's Dexter.
Okay. Oh, stupid. Anyway, do you guys want to talk about the Raiders and the
Fuck
Saints?
the
if you want?
Raiders.
Okay.
No, I mean
Anyone
those
but the-
teams
anyone
are
for the
in
Ravens.
are in hell.
Yeah. That's why I never really wanted to discuss
And
them.
I
But
generally
anyway,
don't know who they'll hire. That's the thing. I have no clue.
yeah. But okay. Let's get to the bread and butter of the show. Playoffs. So this Saturday is going to be starting the playoffs for who? What's the first game? Is it going to be Commanders?
It's always the Texans. It will
Always
always
the
be the
Texans?
Texans.
I saw that tweet. I saw that.
It is always the Texans.
Saturday,
not?
4:30.
Always.
I guess we can just go in order of like the specific games, and we can kind of just discuss of like who's going to win each game,
Yeah.
and then just go from there. So, I guess for Chargers and Houston, who does everyone have?
Chargers.
Chargers.
It's not going to be particularly close. I love using this word. It might be a little close, but Stroud's looked terrible this year. He's looked absolutely terrible this year.
So-
Yeah, it's the
sophomore
offensive
slump.
line, but he's just not looking the same. The reads are not there.
Mhm.
I do believe this, and also Bobby Slowick was figured out quite quickly. And the Chargers just really have everything going right now. Justin Herbert's firing. I mean, I know it was week 18, but Quentin Johnson just caught 13 passes for 186 yards and had a one-handed catch when he had Butterfingers.
Mhm.
And of course, Lad McConkey's a great wide receiver. You know, he'll probably be a Patriot soon at this rate.
Damn it.
But I don't see anyone beating the Chargers, or I don't see the Texans beating the Chargers. I just think they're on a roll, and Houston has too many question marks. Unless CJ Stroud turns back the clock to last year.
Unfortunately, I know in the beginning of the season, I think Mikey, you had CJ Stroud winning MVP going into the season. I mean, it's just a sophomore slump for him, which is unfortunate. I mean, he had such a great team ahead of him, and unfortunately, got to see Stephon Diggs out for the year. Tank Dell, who's probably going to be out for the next 3 seasons. And Nico Collins, I mean, he was hurt for most of the season, but now he's back and he's been playing pretty well. But like, it's just that unfortunately, CJ is just not the right player. I think this is a pretty simple one. The Chargers, who you could say they've been surprising people because they did lose Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. But Harbaugh did Harbaugh magic, and he ended up getting the Chargers into the playoffs, and Justin Herbert will finally make it past the first round in the playoffs. So kudos to him. Now we're going to go into the most interesting. Go ahead.
4 teams have been there are 4 teams that can be forced to be on Hard Knocks next year. I want to just
Okay.
Falcons, Panthers, Seahawks, and Titans.
I say that if it depends on who's going to be the first pick, it's going to be the Titans. Like who's going to who the Titans are going to draft.
Shador one, then it has to be them.
Yeah. If Shador is going to get the first pick, it's going to be the Titans are going to be getting Hard Knocks.
Is Dion going to allow that though? Is he going to allow his boy to go to Tennessee?
Yeah, that's been a lot of discussion. That
He was that's the thing is if his son was actually on Eli's level coming out of college, yeah, but he's considered, this is a very weak class, and I watched some of the film on Sanders, and it made me want to throw up. I mean, some of these reads, damn,
And that's with throwing to Travis Hunter.
exactly.
Yeah.
Who got absolutely routed up by McMillan.
So we're going to go into the most interesting game, personally for me. The Steelers versus the Ravens. I say that it's the most interesting one because we all know how Lamar is against Pittsburgh. He's not that great. I know that in the last game that he went up against Pittsburgh, he did win. But the Steelers could have the upper hand against Baltimore. But is that going to change in the playoffs?
No.
So you think that...
No, I mean, yes,
Lamar?
it's Lamar in the playoffs, but the big thing is Derrick Henry.
Mhm.
He's completely different, and their quarterback is Russell Wilson.
The offense is so bad.
Yeah, this is just
But the
2020
defense is
Steelers
so good, though.
too.
That's the thing.
Well, it's them every single year. They start well, they collapse. We need to have just like a deep Netflix story about all the collapses of Mike Tomlin. And I want to hear there has to be. I mean, it's every year. And it's I think the last 4 games they've averaged 12 points.
Mm-hmm.
It's
remember
this is also why you shouldn't hire Arthur Smith as your offensive coordinator. He's not good. He's the one that notoriously did not use Bijan Robinson the right way. But anyway,
Hey,
Also,
Raheem Morris, Hofstra
he'll-
legend.
Goff's a legend.
he used Bijan properly. So I'm only saying it's interesting because of Lamar's kind of record. Even
Make
that
break
one,
here.
even the first game against each other, against both teams in the season, they did lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know that Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry, but I mean, Steelers defense is phenomenal. It's absolutely incredible. And I know that in a really bad slump right now, was it like they're in a 6-game losing streak or something something
Yeah, the
crazy
defense
like that.
hasn't been as good lately because Porter's been out.
Okay. But
it'll be different if Zay Flowers can't play. That's
Mhm.
gonna be, and it's a short week because they play on Saturday, right?
Saturday.
Yeah, it's a short week. So if that not, then his number he'll be throwing a Likely, Andrews, Bateman, Aguilar.
Or a lot of runs.
Yeah, or it's gonna be a
Just
ton of runs.
lot of runs.
Mark Andrews.
And these AFC North games are always like a bloodbath too. Like it's never gonna be one pretty no matter what. So
Yeah.
I just watching the Steelers it gives me genuine hatred. Like I'm not a violent person, but like if I were to smash a controller, it would be watching this because it's the same thing on the offense every time. They're running outside runs with Najee Harris and inside runs with Jaylen Warren. Najee Harris is 6 foot, over 200 pounds. Jaylen Warren isn't. Anyone with a brain can figure that out, but not Arthur Smith. And it's check down after check down. At this point, you could probably have a better chance of betting of George Pickens fighting a Ravens fan in the stand versus
He probably
actually
will.
catching a pass.
He probably will.
I think
You
that's
see his
minus
burner?
money.
People found his burner.
Is that his
Yeah.
burner account?
Yes, people found his burner account.
That's phenomenal. So we're gonna go into Sunday's matchup. First game, Denver versus Buffalo. On a count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Buffalo.
DeMar Hamlin.
Turn.
He's
I
gonna
know
pick
that. I know,
DeMar Hamlin. You heard it here first. DeMar Hamlin's gonna pick off Bo Nix.
I could totally see that, to be honest. Like an overthrow.
So it's obviously going to be Buffalo. Denver, they made it because they beat a Chiefs team that was half. It's just half their team was there, and they had Carson Wentz as their quarterback. Anyway,
It's gonna be a blowout.
Super
And I
Bowl
honestly hope
champion Carson
I hope
Wentz.
it's a blizzard as well.
probably will be.
If it's a blizzard, the Broncos might have a chance. That defense is nice, but only if there's a blizzard.
Who's
Well,
there? They don't have a
Josh
good running
Allen threw and caught his own touchdown the last time the Bills played in a blizzard. So, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Now let's go into the next game, which is Green Bay versus Philadelphia. I think this is pretty one-sided, personally for me. But what do you guys think?
Philly.
I think it'll be Philly, but I wouldn't be shocked if Green Bay, if Jordan Love plays the way he played last time in the playoffs, not against the 49ers, they have a chance. But Green Bay's defense is extremely underrated.
Mm-hmm.
And this will be Jalen Hurts coming back after a 3-week absence if
I
he
was
gets
just- yeah.
cleared. There's
He's
still
al- yeah,
a small chance he doesn't get cleared.
Yeah, that's a
Exactly.
good point. Well, I actually want to mention this. I think that they are really hoping for Saquon Barkley to be like Saquon Barkley this game because we have no idea how well Hurts is going to do. And like you said, we remember last season that Mike had the Dallas Cowboys win the Super Bowl and they got eliminated in the first round by Jordan Love. So, I mean, like,
It was a great
Jordan Love
day.
in the playoffs, he's pretty great, honestly. I mean, he's
But
special
they
to
don't have
watch.
Christian Watson, which is going to hurt.
Yeah, I was about to say Christian Watson's out for the year with a torn
Yeah.
ACL.
Did I?
They got Josh Jacobs.
I had
though.
the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl last year.
Mike had the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl.
Ooh,
He was just like,
ah.
they just have to go on a run. I'm just like, every
They haven't
team
gone
has
on a
to
run
go
in
on
30 years.
Bren Connor needs to go on a run, but that's a topic for another day.
Connor catching strays.
Oh man, night. All right, whatever. But I'm gonna have the Eagles win. I mean,
They have the better team on paper.
yeah, on paper they do. Now this one's the pretty interesting one. It's the Commanders versus the Buccaneers. Personally, for me, call me crazy, I got Washington
Yeah.
because
Go Commanders.
I can definitely see it. But
the chemistry for Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans right now is going insane right now.
yeah, but they haven't looked good. I think losing Chris Godwin is really
Yeah, that's
hurt
the
them.
big problem too.
It's only going
but-
to catch up to them.
And they need to be able to stop the run. They
Yeah.
have to stop Jaden Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this game is going to be an utter shootout. I'm talking like 35-38.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a back and forth type of game. Losing Chris Godwin was a huge loss
Brutal injury
for
too.
Tampa. But I mean, the Baker and Evans chemistry is very, very good. Bucky Irving is very underrated.
Stud.
I mean, this team is. I mean, I like Tampa, but Washington with having Jaden Daniels. I mean, he's just absolutely incredible. I mean, he's gonna
Yeah.
obviously personally he's easily gonna win Rookie of the Year. That's a grass is green take, but that's I think is gonna be the Commanders. It's gonna be a close game, but Jaden Daniels is gonna step up for sure.
100%.
Yeah, it's
Now we're
gonna,
gonna. Go
I
ahead.
actually I don't really think it's going to be that close. I got to be honest.
Just
I
like the
think the
Bills
Command-
game.
I think the Commanders are going to win pretty effortlessly. I mean, this first of all, it's Buccaneers are the NFC South champions, so they're not really division winners. They're just
They're a team.
yeah, exactly.
They're a team just so they can fill the playoff hole.
Yep.
Whereas the Commanders are almost like, what is a comparison I'm trying to make here? It's like they, in any other circumstance, they would be division winners, but they're playing in the same division as the Eagles. Oh, okay, I got the analogy. Any other year, the Bills would be the 1 seed this year, but they're in the same conference as the Chiefs. So that's what this is like here. Commanders are like, I know it'll be in Tampa Bay, but the Commanders are the real 3 seed in my opinion. So I think they're going to win.
I agree with that. Now we're going to go into the last matchup, which is going to be the Monday night game, which personally for me is a very, very underrated matchup. It is the Vikings versus the Rams. Very back and forth. A lot of people are saying it's going to be the Vikings, and a ton of people are going to be saying it's the Rams. I already see Murdoch shaking his head no. I'm assuming you got the Rams being the Vikings?
I got the run being the Vikings. I
Sam
think that
Darnold with ghosts.
week 18 kind of just showed me that no matter who's the quarterback, the Vikings just haven't changed at all. Big game, they won't show up. They looked awful. Sam Darnold could have like 5 touchdown passes on one drive, but he overthrew Jettas every single time, or Addison, one of the two.
Yeah, no, it was the
multiple
one. He
times.
also missed Addison open on 3 separate touchdown drives, wide open.
I just think the moment's somehow still too big for them, even though they've been there a couple of times. Like Kevin O'Connell's a great coach. Obviously, Jettas is the best wide receiver in football, arguably with Chase. We'll see, but they just find a way to lose in big games. They find ways to not show up, and I think Puka, Cooper Kupp, both healthy. Stafford's playing well. I think Rams win this game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
no, I
wait,
think it's-
wait. First off, before I hear everyone else, Brandon, who else would you say is the
Jamar
best?
Chase.
Jamar Chase? Okay.
All right.
I mean, Chase is obviously going to get paid this offseason. He definitely
Easily.
should.
Round.
He's easily the best wide receiver.
That's
Yeah.
why T. Higgins is the Patriot.
Well, T. Higgins said he's willing to take less money to stay with Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Well, that's lame.
We'll see. But
Well, you're gonna literally get Tet McMillan, who I think is the best wide receiver in the class.
what I really like about this specific matchup for the Rams and the Vikings, I can argue you can personally say that this is first and second of the 1-2 of the best wide receiver duo. The Rams, I think, have the best wide receiver duo with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, and then the Vikings have Jettas and Jordan Addison. Both teams are so gifted and so thankful of having both. I mean, Aaron Jones for the Vikings, Kyron Williams for the Rams, but I'm gonna call me crazy, but I'm taking the Vikings
You're crazy.
personally.
Crazy.
I'm a little bit crazy, but hey, you gotta be a little bit crazy with these wild card picks. Hey, I'm just
You're not
saying.
wrong.
A lot of besides Brandon,
bold
Brandon,
prediction.
a lot of people had the Packers beating the Cowboys last season. So
I did.
just saying.
I did. I had them. You just fucked up my thing.
Hey, we're not talking about that. We're not discussing that.
Now I will say, fuck, what was I gonna say? Shit, I totally forgot what I was gonna say.
Good.
Oh, I totally forgot what I was gonna say. Fuck.
Something about the Vikings and the Rams.
Probably wasn't important.
Okay, so let's just go into the we'll go into I guess we can do now predictions of who we think is going to be the Super Bowl matchup, or let's just say the AFC Championship and NFC Championship, and then Super Bowl predictions. Does that sound good for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be Lions versus an NFC team,
Okay.
Eagles.
And-
There you go.
and I think it'll be Bills Chiefs. Actually, It's either Bills Chiefs or Ravens Chiefs, because I think the winner of the Bills Ravens game is going to be the AFC representation. No disrespect to the Chiefs. I'm not doubting them. But if they face the Ravens, this is a much different Raven team than they played week 1.
Mm-hmm.
And Derrick Henry just gets better and better as the season goes on. You know,
They
he
were
almost
just
became the first ever guy to rush for 2,000 yards in 2 seasons.
They were one big toe away from being them week
Yep.
1. So I'm just saying. Personally, for me, I'm going to be saying the AFC Championship is going to be the Bills and the Chiefs. Going to be having another matchup between Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes. I know it sounds a little bit bizarre, but I'm still not comfortable about Lamar in the playoffs because he does have a lot of moments that you kind of scratch your head on. You know, throwing to triple coverage, and I guess you could say the lights were too bright for him. I know that last season he kind of toyed with Houston, but he lost to the Titans when he won his first MVP. Then he lost to the Chiefs last year. I think that Josh Allen's going to have the upper hand against him, personally. I know Mikey knows that the Ravens kind of, quote unquote, own the Bills, but didn't you say that?
No, they don't own the Bills. They actually, if anything, it's the other way around, because the only time Josh Allen and Lamar have played in the playoffs, it was a
Lamar.
blowout.
Oh, that's when Lamar got the concussion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be also a pick 6.
Yeah. So, I mean, no, I don't think the Ravens own the Bills, but they did absolutely dominate them in the regular season. Like, it was a complete blowout. I will say the one hope for Buffalo is it's not in the box score. The Bills did have some momentum at one point in the game. Like, they made 2 stops, they scored a touchdown, and then Joe Brady tried a trick play, and Josh Allen probably got injured, and we just didn't hear about it, and that killed all the momentum. Also, that was before they had Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper, even though he didn't have amazing stats, he did open up the Bills' offense in a big way. Like, Keon Coleman had his first 100-yard game the week Cooper joined. But at the same time, yeah, I just feel like the Bills' soft zone defense is tailor-made for an offense that basically has 2 quarterbacks when you have Lamar and Derrick Henry. So I think the AFC Championship game is going to be Chiefs-Ravens, and I think the NFC is going to be Eagles and Lions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Murdoch?
I've got the exact same AFC NFC title game as Mikey here. I think Chiefs are easy pick, and then I think Ravens as MVP versus MVP. I think Lamar is going to be able to. I don't know. I think he's going to outplay Josh Allen. Derrick Henry is going to be a stud. I think somehow, some way, Josh Allen everything might unfold for him a little bit. Maybe a couple of turnovers this game, something he hasn't really done all season.
Sounds like a Patriots fan to me.
But yeah, I think Ravens, Chiefs, and then in the NFC, Lions, Eagles. I think Lions, the way their defense looked against Minnesota, I'm not saying it's back to what it used to be before the injuries hit, but it looked a lot better, and that was kind of my only Achilles heel for them. And then Philly, I think they take care of business once again, and I think that's the NFC matchup.
Let's just hope that Dan Campbell doesn't go for 4th down.
Oh my God.
He's probably he's going to. You know that Dan Campbell's probably going to do that.
He needs to be smarter.
Yeah, I mean, he likes to take risks.
I don't think there's any chance that's not going to happen. He's going to go for 4th down. He's going to go for 2 points. Like, that's what he does.
Mm-hmm. Now, I guess we could talk about who we have winning the Super Bowl now.
Lions.
Lions.
Chiefs.
Shut up. I think it's going to be, I don't think.
3-peat.
I think if the Chiefs face a team that can actually keep up offensively, and I just don't see a team right now beating the Lions.
Brandon, they have plot armor.
I don't care. I don't care.
It doesn't matter. You're going.
The Lions have more plot armor.
Look. I'm going to reference.
Chiefs
Breaking
definitely
Bad
have
here.
a live plot armor. Remember last season?
I'm going to
That's
reference
Greenlaw.
Breaking Bad here. They are the devil. They are smarter than you. They are luckier than you. Whatever you think is going to go your way, the exact opposite is going to happen. Okay.
I think it's going to be the Lions, and I'm going to stick with that. I think they're going to run the ball. They're going to pass the ball, and because the Chiefs' offense or defense has looked suspicious the past few weeks. I mean, Bryce Young almost beat them. I think if they face a team,
Well, here's the thing. Last season, they lost to the Las Vegas Raiders And a lot of people were like, this team is not going to win the Super Bowl. And they shocked everyone by beating every team that had the higher advantage than them.
Yeah, but all those
So-
other teams shot themselves.
And went
in
on
the
the
foot.
road.
If a team plays a perfect game. Now, what is one thing the Lions are good at doing that other teams are afraid of doing against the Chiefs? That is going for 2 and going for it on 4th down to make sure the ball is not in Patrick Mahomes' hand. I think if there's anyone that can out-scheme Steve Spagnuolo, and I love Steve Spagnuolo, help beat the Patriots when they were undefeated.
Uh-huh.
And that is Ben Johnson. Also,
Well-
Aaron Glenn is one of the best defensive coordinators in football. So I think, and you forget, Aiden Hutchinson could probably play in the Super Bowl.
Which is ridiculous.
Well, Brandon, the beautiful thing is that that's not going to be happening in the Super Bowl because the Lions are going to go for it on 4th down and fuck up.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Brandon dropped like 3 earlier. You're chilling.
Yeah, there was a lot of F-bombs here and there. So
They're
you're
going to
fine.
screw up in the NFC Championship game, lose to the Eagles. It's going to be Chiefs-Eagles rematch. Jason Kelsey's going to come out of retirement for this one game, all right? Because it's the Kelsey Bowl, too. That's what the NFL wants. Okay, I'm kidding about the Jason
Well,
Kelsey.
to be
It is
fair,
a
podcast
Marshawn Lynch
before or
came out
after?
of retirement just to play for the Seahawks, and he got a couple rushing touchdowns for the playoffs. That was legendary, though. I love Marshawn
was it?
Lynch.
Oh, nice.
Marshawn, he came out of retirement a couple years ago.
He came out of retirement like 3 different times. Wanted to play with Raiders. Then
Well, no,
retired
he didn't
again.
retire. He just moved. I think either got traded
No,
or
he-
signed with them.
No, he retired and then he came out of retirement to sign with Oakland before they went to Vegas, and then he retired again. And then he was like, "All right, I'll just play for the Seahawks." He like gave a bunch of the fans alcohol, and then he went for a rushing touchdown. That's where the iconic "Happy Christmas, Merry New Year" came in. I love Marshawn. He's great.
The legend.
Absolute legend.
Former Bill, never forget.
Yeah.
Yep.
So before we end
Try
our
to
show,
forget.
is there anything else that anyone wants to add?
The Giants bring me pain.
Okay.
Why do coaches get blamed for GMs being awful? That's all I want to
Because
know.
it's because scapegoat.
Yeah.
Mikey?
Sean McDermott is going to stay in Buffalo, even though he shouldn't after they get clapped in the divisional round again.
And the last thing I want to say, I got to see vintage Aaron Rodgers before he leaves.
Oh my god!
I went to the Jets game this past Sunday, and unfortunately, he looked like vintage Rodgers in probably his last game of his career. I don't know. He's
Yeah,
probably
but-
gonna play one more season, but
No, I think he's retiring.
he's retiring. Yeah. All right, that's gonna do it for today's episode. Thank you very much for everyone here, Mikey, and the 2 Brandons, Kramer and Murdoch, for joining today. Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I guess next episode we're going to be discussing the games that happened this past weekend. So have a good rest of your day. everyone.
18-1.